Welcome to another episode of the Live Better podcast, proudly presented by Centric. I'm your host, Kelly Green, and today we're covering all things tax preparation and how to maximize your tax refund. This time of year, many families receive a large sum of money and can achieve hopes and dreams like a down payment on a large purchase, pay down or eliminate debt, or even stack their savings for unexpected expenses. So whether you've been a loyal listener or you're joining us for the first time, prepare to dive into ways to grow your tax refund and ensure most of your refund stays in your pocket. Well, I want to welcome all of our listeners to another episode of Live Better podcast. Today, we are joined by Billy Joyner. He is our CFO here at the credit union. And before we get started, Billy, I want you to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what do you do here at Centric?
I'm just a normal guy. I've got a family of 4 kids. Wife I've been married to 20 years, so I've been at the credit union going on 12 years. I love helping people live better. So
yes, you do. And so to tell everybody too, kind of what a CFO does. You don't just crunch numbers all day long, right? You're part of it, but
that's primarily what I do. But no, I kind of dive into all the anything related to finances for the credit union, whether it be making sure we're making the most on our money that we have sitting around, and making sure we have the best rates, making sure we have the best dividend rates for our members, just trying to make sure that we're providing the best value for our members.
Oh, yeah. A lot of the things we talk about, what we do here at Centric is genuinely helping members live better. And we know this time is our economy is kind of all over the place. We don't necessarily know what's happening with the rates. We know today, but it could be something different here in the weeks to come. And so I think one of the things I admire about you and your team, you always want to talk with our members to see what are their ultimate financial goals, and do we have the right things that we're offering to them? Are we offering the most advantageous rates that's right for our members, but it's also something right for the credit union?
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have folks bring us their excess cash and being able to pay them the best we can, but sometimes we're not able to pay the best.
That's right.
And if it's not good for our member, we'll tell them, hey, look, this is a good opportunity somewhere else, and it'd be better for you to go take that opportunity there. But all in all, we'd like to have their funds here at the credit union, obviously. But if it's not best for the member, it's kind of what we live by. So.
Yeah, I love that. That's to me is because we're a local institution that just has an arm that we can reach members anywhere they are. I still think the most important and valuable thing about Centric is that we offer people are right here. We're living in the community. We understand the hardships they may be facing, and we're living in it too, and I think that's the most important piece of this is that we just don't take the human side out of banking because it's so critical. We all have different financial goals and journeys, but having someone as far as a financial expert like you to guide our members, I think that's so incredibly valuable and something that, a lot of folks may not get with a mega bank or even a large community style bank. Here at the credit union, that is who we are.
Yeah, we just been able to save the local economy as we talk about here.
Yes.
And we like to make sure that we're providing the best value for our members, and whether it's through financial counseling, live better tips, visiting schools, financial literacy for children, whatever it is, Centric's going to be there to help them.
That's right. And I know our kids, from day one, you've been a supporter of our high school BizKids program, and they love seeing you come in there and have a good old time. So again, if that's something that's interested you too, feel free to visit our website at mycentric.org, because now we have it online and people can access that at their disposal. So that's beautiful. Well, so we're exploring tax refunds, and so I would love to hear the most beneficial way to ensure that tax preparations are completely accurate, timely, and how members can really get their maximum refund. What do you suggest with that?
Well, I would say most people are probably always in a hurry to get their taxes filed.
Yeah.
First the year comes around, that's one of the first things folks get to working on or getting their tax returns filed. And one of the things that I would just make sure it's most accurate is making sure that you have all the applicable forms that you need, whether it's some 1099s or W-9s, just making sure that you have all your documentation that you need before you file, because you don't want to have to go back and do an amended return or anything like that. So making sure you have all your documents together, we're making sure that it's filed accurately. And timely, just making sure you actually file the return before the deadline. You can file some extensions if you need to, but just file it before the deadline is probably the best thing that would be helpful for our members. And making sure you get the maximum refund. It's kind of it's a numbers game, right? So making sure that your deductions and your income kind of are maximized. And if you're not sure how to accomplish that, get some help. Ask for some help because there are professionals out there that can help you. And there's also software available that you can use to help you through the process as well.
And the thing I always try to share with folks whenever they're thinking about preparing their taxes, I encourage folks, if you're going to use like the software you're talking about, even online, a lot of times that's a very low cost to no cost, especially if it's just a simple return, or if you're visiting with a local CPA, which I advise, because if you have any questions or maybe you're missing out on some deductions that you never thought about, you can talk with them. That's an expert, that you want to reach out to. But something to really think about is if you are getting a refund, I highly encourage you, to really think about direct depositing that into the credit union versus having that uploaded on a debit card or credit card, because there's so many fees that are associated with that. And we just see so many times, even when you're calling in on these prepaid, cards that they give you, they're trying to charge you for that. If you're inquiring about a balance, why worry about that when you can just direct deposit that for free?
Yeah, that's Centric is able to take those deposits on the tax deposits and actually pay you money for them.
Yeah.
Instead of charging you for them. So we actually pay a good dividend rate on some of our CDs. And we don't charge you to call and ask how much is in your savings account. So just find the best value for your money. If you're not making money on your money, it's an opportunity now to make sure that you're doing that.
Absolutely. What better time? So let me ask you this. So, we talk about the good things of a tax refund. So think about the pros and the cons of a tax refund. What are some things? A lot of times it's a very large sum of money and people are like, heck yeah, this is great. We're going on vacation. But really think about what are some real beneficial things that families might be able to do to kind of change your financial trajectory with this tax refund?
Well, you think about when tax season is right after the holidays, and a lot of folks, a lot of members use those funds to kind of catch up, and some of them may have some outstanding items they need to take care of, and we see a lot of that happening. So some of the pros of a large tax return would be to catch up on some of your bills. Build your savings, put back some emergency fund if you need one. If you don't have one, put one back. Not a lot of times you're going to get a big, large lump sum of money at one time. So when you do that, not a lot of folks are used to getting those types of funds, and sometimes the money tells you where it's going instead of you telling the money where it's going. So that's just making sure you tell your money where it's going. That's probably one of the things that I would say when you get a large sum of money. And some of the disadvantages of getting a tax return, there are some disadvantages. First of all, I would say if you're getting a large lump sum of money, you need to determine why you're getting that, because what you're pretty much doing is giving the government an interest-free loan.
Yes.
Because they're taking your money and giving it back to you with no interest. Mm-hmm. So if you're getting a large lump sum of money, you're probably having too much money taken out of your paycheck. Your W-2 is not filed correctly. The form's not completed correctly. So make sure you get with your advisor or your HR department to see what you can do to lessen that if you want your money every time you get paid. Some folks wanna the max taken out and getting the max refund, and that's a you decision. But yes. There is some opportunities for you to maximize your own earnings by making sure that your withholdings are correct.
Well, you think about the time of inflation that we're living in right now, and if you're getting 10, 15,000, we see very large tax refunds a lot of times here at the credit union, and you think about that over a year, and I think, wow, if we could pay them 5% on that, it's in there. You're giving this to the government interest free, but you think about what does that equate to every single month in your pocket? Could that be used for grocery money? Or if you're able to withhold that from your check, that tells you could use that money in a savings account, right? That's why I highly encourage. I'm all for, I understand that, with inflation and costs are out of control, but sitting down with a CPA, even an HR professional, as you mentioned, that they can go over what your deductions are. And if they're understanding as well as far as what you're getting out of the refund, how does that impact you over your whole, your paycheck over the whole year? So, you got to think about those kind of things and opportunities. I think that's one of the biggest questions, and it's an easy answer. It doesn't take me just a few minutes to look at those things so you can make those adjustments. And that's something that could, be an instant change in your overall budget.
Oh, absolutely. It'll help you tremendously. A couple $100 extra a paycheck. I mean, that goes a long ways for folks who are just trying to live paycheck to paycheck. And, if you are one of those folks that are living paycheck to paycheck and you're getting a large tax refund, you've probably got some opportunities to increase your earnings if you just make sure that your deductions are filled out right on your W-2 forms.
Yes, I just love that. I'm glad that you shared that, because those are some things a lot of people don't think about. You hardly ever look at your deductions unless you have a lifestyle change, or you start a new job. It's really the only times you really think about, you're prompted to review that. So nonetheless, it's something that I think would just take a couple of minutes. And, you mentioned earlier talking about the financial counselors that we have here at Centric, and something that I want to make sure that we do mention to our listeners. We talk about this a lot, but it's so critical, especially if you're thinking about you've got these extra $100, $200 that are coming in if you have adjusted your deductions. How does that, how do you add that money into your overall budget? And if you don't have a budget, how do you get started with that, right?
Oh, yeah. The most important thing for me and my family is, I've said it before earlier today, is telling our money where to go.
Yes,
you have to tell it where to go, or it's gonna just disappear on you. So, a budget is really simple. We've got folks that can help you at the credit union that can help you set it up, but it's pretty much your income on one side, expenses on the other one, and whatever's left, you're saving.
That's it.
So yeah, that's pretty simple.
I love it. And I'm telling you, just a couple minutes to review your deductions, and anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes with a financial counselor can change your life. I'm telling you, when you're talking about some of the successes that you've had, I would love to hear from you, Billy, especially I know you're a big time saver. If you have a goal or a plan, or you want to take your family on a vacation, you create a savings account and you name it for what you're saving for.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
One of the things that the very first time where I can remember where I got a large tax return back when I first started working was, we had just had a kid, and had just gotten married, and we're probably 4 or 5 years into our marriage, and this is the earliest success I can remember. So we had a large lump sum, and I was tired of debt. I was tired of debt, and so I took that money and I put it on my wife's car that I had bought for her, and we paid that thing off.
Yeah,
and it was such a relief. Such as that, and things change in your life, and you have to do things that you may not necessarily want to do, but you have to do. Some of the things that, I definitely like to try to save for are vacations. I'm a huge traveler. I love traveling with my family. We've got some big plans coming up in the next year. My wife's our 20th anniversary, so we're looking forward to looking forward to a big trip with my wife out of the country. So looking forward to that, and we just traveled with my family for Christmas, and we saved for that. So definitely have to tell your money where it's going. So.
It's so interesting, though. A lot of people say, oh, well, because you're a CFO, well, you have a large income and all these sort of things. But it's like, no. Even so, regardless of the income that you have, I think we see so many single moms, single parents, a lot of times they're doing better financially than a whole, family, because they're not in control of their money. They're not telling their money where to go. And I love hearing from you how important it is, regardless of where you are in your financial status or what have you, you still have a budget. You still create a savings account for what you want, and you ensure that you set up those automatic deductions, because that's a goal that you want to see. I love it also because your wife as an educator, I know that, children is something that's near and dear to both of your hearts. I have to tout your basketball team too. Woo woo. Over at the West Monroe Rec, you'll have to go watch them. We have a boys and a girls team that are playing, so you'll have to go celebrate them. But being involved in kids and whether it be sports and education, but seeing our attitude around money and how we spend or how we, choose not to spend money, I think that is teaching such a life lesson that they will carry forever and ever. Some of the decisions that you and I have made, a lot of times we talk about this a lot, as far as financially, it's like, man, if we could have done over, or else the decisions that we made or because we saw things that didn't go too well in our childhood, and so what we do matters. Even though our kids are probably like, we think they're not listening. Oh boy, they're listening, For
sure. I've learned. I tell my, my friends and my coworkers, I learned how to be a father because of things that happened in the past, and so I'm hoping my kids are learning some of the things that how to take care of their finances by watching me.
Oh yeah,
some of the things that they're learning through me, and I'm very passionate about financial literacy with kids. That's something that is very near and dear to my heart. I think kids need a head start on getting this education, and I'm looking forward to continuing this on our BizKids program and going forward with that. But yeah, if your kids need some help, you gotta help them.
That's right.
And also, we got some help for you if you need it. So you need to sit around the table, talk to your kids about money. Right. If not, they'll be living with you in your basement.
That's exactly right. And listen, I love my girls. We all know this, but you got to understand and know, hey, this is when you're ready to go. My daughter asked me yesterday, she's like, Mom, can you get me $10 out of the ATM? I need $10. And I'm like, well, why do you need $10? And she's explaining what she needs it for. And so I'm like, okay, you got to plan for this money. We're not just going to be, spending frivolously. So anyway, nonetheless, I think starting your kids early is the best thing that you can do. We have kids savings and checking accounts, gives them a debit card, completely free. Like, why not? So Billy, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been so good. Well, so that brings us to the end of our episode of the Live Better podcast. We hope you found today's conversation about really opportunity is knocking with a tax refund. We certainly hope that this has been great for you. And we hope that Centric remains your steadfast partner in your overall financial journey. If this episode has resonated with you, we kindly ask you to show your support. Please hit our subscribe button, share the episode with your friends and family, and take a moment to leave us a review. Your input is truly invaluable in shaping the content that addresses your financial interests and needs. And of course, let's stay connected on social media. You can find us on Facebook at Centric Federal Credit Union and on all other platforms under My Centric. Stay in the loop regarding the latest financial insights and resources tailored to your unique financial aspirations. Until our next episode, always remember that Centric is by your side as you navigate your financial journey. Thank you for tuning in to the Live Better podcast.